Hello everyone, welcome to the very first lore series for Magic the Gathering. It's been quite a while. I promised these videos long ago, almost a year ago. I'm ashamed of myself, but since I've read the story so long ago, it takes a bit of time to research the stories and put it all together. But I will do my best to pump out these videos as quickly as possible. My goal is 1 in 2 weeks, but don't get mad if you only see one video every 3 weeks, because it takes quite a while to research and reread the story as it is. Alright then, let's start at the beginning. There are many ways to interpret the beginning. We have the beginning of time, or the beginning of the story where the cards begin, or where the modern story begins. But I want to start at the very beginning, the very first event in history. And before I start that, there are several calendars to keep track of, but the most accepted up until Time Spiral will be AR, short for Argivian Reckoning. I will simply call it AR. But in the description of each video I will put a short description of terms that I use in order to avoid telling you guys the same stuff over and over again. Right, the moment you've all been waiting for, Magic the Gathering lore. Alright, this episode I want to talk about the Dragon War. This isn't going to be a large video per se, it's going to be the start. So the problem with this part of the story is that it derives from the comics, very early comics, and from some flavor texts that appeared in Legends, and not much afterwards. So there's not a lot to go on about. So the Dragon War. The Dragon War was a huge conflict on Dominia. You might be thinking, Dominia? Don't you mean Dominaria? No, there is a difference between Dominia and Dominaria. At first, when Wizards of the Coast started the story of Magic Gathering, the setting for the early stories was Dominia. This term was later known to be the entire multiverse. Dominaria was but a plane in this cluster of other planes that collectively was called Dominia. So you can say that Dominaria is like the main plane of Dominia. Alright, so the Dragon War was waged across Dominia. And now that we know that it is the entire multiverse, does that mean the entire multiverse at once? Or do they mean Dominaria? Because if they mean Dominia, that would mean that the elder dragons who inhabited it could in fact planeswalk. Alright, now please let me know in the comments below what your opinions are for this matter. I'm very curious to see what other people think about it. Could they planeswalk? Or did they simply mean Dominaria? Like I said at the beginning, they just refer to Dominia instead of Dominaria. So my opinion on this is that it is actually Dominaria. That they aren't planeswalkers. But hey, that's just me. Alright, unfortunately, this is speculation on my part. There is too little information on the Dragon War, like I said, to go into the details in depth. So, what do we know? We know that the Elder Dragons fought one another, and a lot of them were either killed in the war or stripped of their power. Some have had their wings and limbs ripped off and continue to live as Elder Land Worms. Yeah, Elder Land Worms. The white creature from Alpha. Let me get that card for you, so you can have a little look at what it looks like. This is an Elder Land Worm. You can see it sleeping in the sand, and just like the flavor text says, sometimes it's best to let sleeping dragons lie. So yeah, the Elder Land Worms. In this case, it's just white. Right. Only 5 real Elder Dragons survived the war. First, there is Veivictis Asmadi. And there is Palladiamors, looking all fierce. Arcades Saboth. Looks like he has his own building where he lives. Chromium. As a child, I loved this art. It looks amazing. And last but certainly, most certainly not least, Nicol Bolas. Now then, you may all think, Nicol Bolas? Wait a minute, isn't that the bad guy from Now? From Story Right Now? Yes. Yes, he is. This is the very, very same. So, yeah, Nicol Bolas. These were the 5 Elder Dragons that survived. Now, some of them, their fate was unknown. For example, Veivictis Asmodi. It is unknown what has happened to him, but Nicol Bolas states has stated somewhere near the presence that none of his peers still exist. Yeah, which means that they died. But we don't know how. So, just like, I have read that it's quite likely that he died from a fight, but we don't know for sure. So, that was Asmadi, Veivictis Asmadi. That's actually the one that we know the least of. For Palladiamors, we know that he got killed in a fight. Arcades Saboth was most likely, it's also not very well known, but he is most likely killed by Christina, a planeswalker from around 2800 AR, and that was in a duel between Christina and Leshrac. Leshrac being a powerful planeswalker himself. Chromium Ruel, as he is called, was killed in 2934 AR, which is about 134 years after Arcades Saboth. Both of the other dragons were already dead by that time, as I recall. So Chromium, he got killed. How, I don't know. It is unclear for me. But his death drove his friend Ravidel insane. And Ravidel is recruited by a planeswalker called Faralin as a spell squire to be trained in the ways of the planeswalkers. Now then, the death of Chromium caused Ravidel to go insane, and indirectly causing the Planeswalkers' War, of which I will tell another story another time. And then there was Nicol Bolas, and he survived it all. He survived it. He still lives at this moment. As far as I know, he hasn't been killed yet. Unless Wizards of the Coast put out some silly... some silly time plot twist that just killed him off. But as far as I know, he still lives. Now then, the Dragon War, it was waged around, well, the time isn't known. I couldn't find any time on the Dragon's War either, but I would say about 20,000 years in the minus Argivian Reckoning. So that is 20,000 years before the birth of Urza and Mishra. So that's a long time. Nicol Bolas still lives, so that makes him about, take or give, 25,000 years old at the time. So yeah, there you have it, the Elder Dragons. There isn't much to talk about. I won't spoil the story of Nicol Bolas just yet. I won't be talking about him in its entirety, but I will instead just take him out every time that he enters the story, which we are talking about. So next time we will be talking about the Planeswalkers War. Sorry if this video seems a little bit messy, but yeah, I will be sure that the next one is more organized and that I don't forget any cards that are out there. So, yeah, what did we talk about today? We talked about the start of the history, the Dragon's War. 4 of them died off, the other one lived, Nicol Bolas. It was waged on Dominia, probably current Dominaria, and it was about 25,000 years Argivian reckoning. So we spanned a time of 23,000 years this episode, which is quite a long time. In which 4 of them got killed and the other one still lived. See you all next time for the Planeswalkers War. Bye.